morning, everybody. This is Jean here. Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for you. I'm in my sewing room today and I am doing some sewing. I'm going to put my camera down and show you what I have been doing. I'm making a quilt out of my embroidered blocks, and as you know, if you've been following, I wanted to make 12 of these little embroidered kit blocks. Quite a few of you have been asking where I've gotten them. Hobby stores have tons of them. These are embroidery with floss, and embroidery floss is a 6-strand thread, and then you separate, and the instructions on each kit, you either separate into 1, 2, perhaps 3 strands. Fairly simple. These are classified as beginner kits. Now the ones that I have gotten, a lot of people have been asking. I got mine on Amazon. If you probably type in embroidery kits, there you go, you see my quilt. Because I've just gotten these. I started out with my cardinal, as you know, and this was one that I had gotten. This is one of the manufacturers. These are called embroidery stitches, and this is how they come in the package. A lot of you were asking. This is a little hummingbird that I'm going to be making, probably just for my wall. Quite like that one. And they come with quite good instructions, complete step-by-step guide. Okay, and they give you the different stitches that you're going to be using. Now, here's another one. Oh, another hummingbird I grabbed. Now, this is called handwork. This is another hummingbird. And this is, my latest one that I've done, my last one for my quilt that I've done, my 12th block, is this little butterfly here. I've done actually 1, 2, 3, 4 butterflies, and then the rest are the little images. And I will be putting my camera down and I'll be showing you my progress on my quilt. But this is my little butterfly that I've done. Now, a couple people have said, could you teach us how to embroider? And I'm thinking, well, my channel is whatever it is. I don't know what it is anymore. It's quilting. It's how I do things. It's looking after my kid and Matt and Ian doing stuff. I don't know what I'm doing here. But anyway, somebody said, oh, could you teach us how to embroider? I'm a good embroiderer, but I'm not a perfect embroiderer. My backs, real quick, do not look like my front. But it's the front that counts. But a lot of people who do embroidery perfectly or really well, their backs are perfectly, and they look almost like the front. Don't judge me. But it's interesting. I do take a little bit of creative freedom when I'm making this. I will show you. This is how this has turned out, because the opposites on a color wheel for the purples are the yellows and the oranges, as you know. So I quite liked that. I started out a purple butterfly, and the purple butterfly's here. But I'll show you what the kit told me to make. Do you see that? These little flowers that I did in yellow, because I had some floss left over, are originally white. And let me just show you that. So that's how the kit came, and that's what I ended up doing, because I just felt that the white didn't show up. I'm thinking, why do all that work? Because the flowers, they're not a tremendous amount of work, but just back and forth with a small satin stitch. I just thought, well, they look like sunflowers to me, so I'm going to make a sunflower. So as I say, I do take creative freedom when I'm doing my little embroidery kits. So I have done 12 of them. And another thing I want to show you, let me just see. When you're doing these kits, I'm going to open this one up. This is the little hummingbird. Again, these are the instructions for the different stitches you need. Okay, and there's, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. No, 5 stitches. 5 stitches on this little kit here to make that little hummingbird. Well, I may or may not do those stitches. Here's how it comes. Here's the floss, and I'll tell you, when I used to do these, you used to have to organize your floss. I think people who've done this like 40 years ago, 50 years ago, we had to organize our floss. It comes all organized beautifully. Really, really nice. And again, in the colors that coordinate to the pattern. Really, really super. And of course, I don't understand why it comes with 3 needles. I've done quite a few of these kits, and now I have a million needles, embroidery needles. But this is how this kit comes. And again, this is how the actual little project comes. Oh, this one has a circle. Oh, that one has a printed circle. Oh, I'm glad I didn't do that one, because my other ones didn't have the circle. But apparently, as I was saying to you before, this is water soluble ink, I guess. And so when you're done making it in the hoop, you soak the entire project in the hoop, taut, stretched and everything, and the blue comes off, because that blue line would have to come off for the way I'm doing them. Anyway, that's how they come. And sometimes I'm looking at the instructions and I'm thinking, I don't fancy that color, so I'll do another color. Or like that calls for French knots or an outline stitch. Mostly they're long and short and satin stitches. They are very good for beginners, if you know that. But anyway, I just take a as I say, slightly bit of a creative freedom here, making it like I wanted to do. I liked the kit, but I didn't love the white, so I liked the yellow. So anyway, I'm gonna show you my progress on my quilt so far. I've had back and forth with my quilt, because I'm not quite sure of a few things at this point. So I'm going to show you my quilt. I do hope you enjoy this video. I'm doing what I'm doing, or whatever it is I'm doing. Today it is embroidery. I'm putting my embroidery blocks into a quilt. So I hope you enjoy the video, folks. Bye. So as you can see, here are some of my blocks that I've already done. I've already put the little borders around them, and I'm putting them up here on my design wall. Now, as you know, I'm using the Be Vintage by Riley Blake. It's cutesy, little farmhousey looking, sweet, little classical, little traditional prints. So I'm using them just to border my little, not the sort of the purple-ish red gingham, not that, but all of these other colors are my Riley Blake. Okay, and I'm going to be showing you how I've been putting the blocks together. Now, I quite liked the blocks on their own, but it was a little bit, they were a little bit square, and I wanted to sort of frame my units here, my little blocks, my 12 blocks that I've done. And so I chose the pink or the purple reddish gingham to make those sort of corners. And then it will make sort of a secondary pattern in here. So these are my blocks. There's my little butterfly and my cardinal, my owl that I have yet to do. I've done 8 of them, but I want to come over and show you here what I'm not in a quandary about, but what I'm going to be deciding about. How I'm going to actually sash these blocks. Okay, I'm going to be putting sashing and a cornerstone in there. This is a very traditional quilt. It's fairly angular, but it's cute. And I wanted to pop, I wanted obviously my embroideries to pop. And I think they are. When you come up to my quilt, you're going to see 12 embroideries. So what I'm chosen here, well, I've chosen quite a few. I've chosen a black and white dot for this. This is for the sashing. The gray, tiny little dot, which away from it reads like a pale gray. The actual cream of the borders, right here, and then a deeper, like an eggshell, a creamy tan. So, and then for the cornerstones, I've chosen a few, either a selection of the Riley Blakes, the pink and white gingham, the cream, or the black and white gingham. So it's sort of a cacophony of colors right now. So stay tuned. This is a compilation of Ian Maxwell's and my ideas on the sashing. So Maxwell had, why don't you sash it in black to really make it pop? But this is more of a sweet little quilt, and I know what he means with the black. That's why we went to the black and white dot, but that was way too busy. Even though quilts like this are busy when you go up to them and you look at them, I didn't want it to be in your face busy. And I think with the pink and white gingham, it's busy enough. So it needs to be calmed down with the sashing. And then, of course, I'm going to be putting a border. So this is how I'm setting up my pieces to make my block, just for your information. Basically a 9 patch with some units in it. And those in the Riley Blake fat quarters for my accents, and then this cream fabric here. what I've done is I have chopped my embroideries down to 8.5 inches. So if you wanted to make this block, it's 8.5 inches for the centerpiece, right? And then your side pieces here are 2.25 by 5 inches, this piece here. And then your little sashing here are 2.25 inch squares, as are these here. This piece here and the top and the bottom are 2.25 by 8.5. Okay, so all you're doing is you're putting this unit together, you're putting these two units together, making the middle unit, and then the bottom unit is exactly done like the top. So I've cut out my units here, my 2.25 units, my 2.25 squares, my 5-inch rectangles, my 8.5 inch rectangles, and then I'll change it up. Now what I've done also is I cut out a 5-inch square. And then I've cut that on the diagonal. It's a little bit big, but as you can see, I just sort of snowballed the blocks with this corner. And then I've turned it around and trimmed it all off. It's busy, but I quite like it. And then I will choose the sashing to, as I say, calm it down. So that's how far I've gotten so far. I do hope you are enjoying this process. I'm enjoying a sweet little quilt that I'm making, how I just made up these blocks in my head and then expounded on it to sort of frame them with the gingham. So, in the comments below, tell me what you think. All right, folks, thanks so much for following along. All right, love from the Trueloves. Bye.